Hey, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Plain Donuts Podcast. It's coming at you fast. Enjoy the show. And go.
What's that?
We did it.
We did it.
Is that the theme song?
Yeah, that's when the song plays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we cute?
Hey, welcome to the Plain Donuts Podcast. I am your co-host, Steve.
And I'm your other co-host, Alicia. And we have a special guest today. Steve, do you want to introduce him?
Sure. This is Navy Seaman Christopher Hill, my brother-in-law.
Hi.
He's not a seaman.
Not a seaman.
He's gonna tell me his rank. I don't know what.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Well, okay. I'm a Master at Arms First Class Petty Officer. I have a super long title.
That's
Nice.
that's a really long title.
I wish I was a petty officer because I'm real good at being petty.
What's your boss's title?
Chief Petty Officer.
That's it.
Oh, actually,
Master at Arms Chief Petty Officer.
Chief petty officer.
Your title is longer than your boss's title.
Yeah, we just call him Chief, and they just call me MA1. That's the short condensed
MA1.
version.
How often do you interact with your chief?
Daily.
Daily?
Okay. Well, it's because
Like,
What about his
hourly?
boss? Who is his boss?
Senior Chief.
yeah.
Oh, is it just like extra super supreme senior chief
It is.
petty officer?
Well, then it goes, and then it's Master Chief, like Halo.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes so much more
Master
sense.
Chief.
I don't really know very much about the ranks, even though my dad was in the Air Force. I kind of was just like, oh, he's just a master sergeant and senior master sergeant.
The
and
Navy's
master
rank
private.
structure is different than like everyone
Yeah.
else's, so it was like hard to learn at first because like all the movies and stuff you see, you're like, oh cool, I get like corporal and sergeant and all that jazz, and then like you join the Navy and you're like, none of this makes sense because you go like 3, 2, 1 because you go third class, second class, first class.
I see. Uh-huh.
It's kind of like second lieutenant, first lieutenant
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
I see.
That makes sense.
And then our officer structure is different too, so it's really weird.
I don't know. You'd have to enumerate the differences. 'cause
Okay,
I don't know anything.
So like
about any
a
of the
captain
ranks.
normally is like an 03 in the other branches,
Mhm.
but a captain in the Navy is like an 06.
Oh,
Weird.
So they usually say like full bird captain, and if I mess that up, then you guys can haze me on the
Okay.
because I might have.
Oh, I
Or
don't
haze
know.
you in those like forums.
I just say sir to everyone who's an officer, and that way I just don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Make your
That's-
life easy.
That's why you're rising those ranks.
Yeah.
That's right.
So explain, Steve, who Chris is to you.
He's my brother-in-law. He's my sister's husband. We've been friends for... How long have you guys been married?
12 years.
So we have to have been friends for like 14
Yeah,
years, probably.
roughly
Wow.
14.
Man, that's weird. But yeah,
Over a decade.
over a
I like using that term. now.
over a decade. I don't know why I
What
said
was that?
This is really bad Australian accent.
Oh, that was an Australian accent.
That was us.
Put it on your dick for a decade.
That's better. There we go.
Here we are, looking at our dicks.
That sounds like JFK.
I think we just introduced a new character.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Like Australian-ish, JFK-ish. Pretty good.
Yeah, Australian JFK.
Yeah.
Oh, the back of my head is all over this car.
Too soon. We're gonna remember him because it's Memorial Day.
I know. Thank you for your service, JFK.
Correct.
And all the other
All the
military
other
men.
military.
Do you go out in public in your uniform?
No,
I heard that's like a douchey thing to do.
the Navy doesn't. So like in like my actual like work camouflage, like we're allowed to, in the States, we're allowed to like stop at a gas station to get medicine for our kids or a grocery store, like pick up medicine or milk, and then leave. We can't go like to the mall and shop. But when where I am overseas in Italy, we're not allowed to wear a uniform off base. So
Huh, interesting. Is there a reason for that? It's just
security, safety, I don't know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be
targeted.
targeted.
I mean, we're all in the same area. Everyone
Yeah.
knows where we're
Yeah.
at, so it's not like it's shocking. But
Well, I mean, realistically, there might be somebody there who hates the American military for some reason, and
Yeah, I've seen a few protests in my time. Actually, 2. I've seen like 2 protests.
in Italy.
No.
Oh,
That'd be a very specific
No, wait.
thing.
Well, I've seen one in Italy, but it was for a guy that had a legal dispute with the base because he got fired from it like 20 years ago.
Weird.
But that most protests have involved like 1 to 10 people, and that's it.
It's a little baby protest.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So in the States, like if you're in your uniform, do people like stop you and say thank you for your service and that kind of stuff?
Not really.
That's good. Would that be awkward?
It is awkward when it happens, but most of the time, if you're out in your uniform, you're usually in a military-heavy area,
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
nobody likes the military there, for the most part. Or they work with the military, so it's not like,
It's like a everyday.
yeah, it's an
sort of
everyday
thing.
thing.
I haven't seen. We live right by a military base, and I haven't seen a lot of people that dislike living by a military
Yeah.
base.
People mostly dislike it here because they're like, oh, the planes are so loud. And it's like, well, you move next. I don't know what you expected. It's an air base, and they're literally flying planes in every day. So I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We also I work on an airfield, so we get the planes too.
Yeah.
It's not.
Your military experience in the Navy hasn't been very Navy oriented, right? Like water oriented.
No.
That's
So,
interesting.
Yes, out of 12 years in the Navy, I've only been out in the ocean for 6 months.
And were you on a ship or a sub?
I was. No, subs are like special duty, and
Right.
my job never actually goes on subs. But it was on ships, and they were 2 civilian ran ships, so they weren't even Navy ships. Well, they were Navy owned, but they're civilian ran.
Oh,
So
I
they're
see.
not like the ships you would see in a movie.
Okay.
Were they like
Interesting.
cruise liners or something?
No,
Like-
Like on a Italian river cruise?
one was a pre-positioning ship, the Stockham, US NS Stockham. And that just pretty much carries like equipment on it. And just in case something breaks out in that part of the world, they already have equipment in that part of the world.
Interesting.
For like the Marines and the Army and everyone to utilize. So
Cool.
we worked off that ship.
That's neat.
Neat.
Oh, we should talk about how our week has gone. I think it's been a full week since we recorded
Oh,
last.
yeah, it has been.
Oh man, the Plain Donuts podcast has been on a crazy
Oh,
schedule
weird
recently.
Sorry, everybody. And we're actually recording today way earlier than we normally would.
Well,
so-
kind of like hours earlier
Yeah, exactly.
anyway, not
Yeah.
like days. But
Days.
we're thinking I don't know how we'll do it because this episode is kind of timely, having a military man around Memorial Day. So we might want to release this one this week, or we could release the last one this week and release this one next week, or we could do one.
We could swap it.
Yeah, we could swap it.
Because you're going to be out of town.
I'm going to be out of town the beginning of June, and if we have one in the chamber, that would be really helpful.
You leave this in the chamber.
Okay.
Locked and cocked.
We'll try.
Good.
I'll try and keep it under wraps.
Under
I don't
wraps.
know.
It's a secret.
Chamber.
That's
No,
God
that's
really-
fine. You do whatever.
I
you
don't.
want.
I,
It's your
we just have to
podcast.
figure it out. And like, I told everybody on last week's podcast that we would release 2 episodes last week, and it just didn't happen because everybody's crazy busy. And I was partially waiting for Alicia to get me episode images.
That's my fault, yeah. I'm actually finally kind of caught up with work a little bit.
Nice.
But that's going to change because I'm missing today.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
just I'm gonna be a full day behind.
Well, you're not missing today. You just have today off,
yeah,
right?
So, but
But
yeah. My job's kind of weird because it's like on a very day by day like schedule. Like on Mondays, I have a very set of specific things I have to do.
Oh,
so
I see.
Tuesday, I'll have to do Mondays things and Tuesdays things. So
Ugh.
I'm like,
That
But-
sucks.
It does.
yeah.
I don't want this for you.
Me neither, Steve.
I mean, I want you to have your job and everything,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
but
like having a job. It's
I like that too. There was a time where you didn't have a job.
I know I did not have a job for a couple months, and that was really stressful.
Yeah.
It was around tax time, and I found I did my taxes wrong, and I owed like $1,000.
Oh.
And they took it out of my account, so I had like negative $1,000 in my checking account. And I was like, I don't even know, because if I put money into it, then it would just go towards that. So I just had to use cash, and I felt like a weird, like, I don't know.
You know how you fix that? you have kids.
That's true.
Yeah,
So
you
many
get that
kids.
auto money. So.
Yeah. Well, and you have like special tax situation because you're in the military.
No, I still pay taxes.
Do you,
I pay taxes to Utah because that's my state of residence.
You pay state tax. Do you pay
Yeah.
federal taxes?
I do.
Yeah.
So there's certain places I work that are considered tax free, and if I work in that area, then I don't pay taxes for that time.
Huh.
But that's it.
What areas would that like be considered?
Well, as they say, the sandbox. There's some places in the Philippines.
The sandbox is like the Middle East.
Yeah, the Middle East. Mostly places where there's conflicts going on. If you're working out of there, they try to give you some perks for being out there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Like your life is literally in danger.
You get paid for that too.
I know.
Yeah.
What's the official title for that?
There's two. It's called imminent danger pay, and then they have hazardous duty pay as
And
well.
does it like stack on top
It
then
does.
of
It
each
all
other? Like
stacks.
wow, interesting.
Yeah, for a time when I worked in the southern Philippines, I made quite a bit of money. It was nice before we had kids, so it wasn't too big of a deal.
Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of like when I used to work at Discover Card, we would get holidays off. And if you would, so it would be a paid holiday, and if you would work, you'd get paid time and a half for the hours you were
nice.
working, so you could get paid double time and a half for working on holidays.
Wow.
So, well, double time plus half, I guess
Yeah.
is how you might say that. But, like, yeah, so it's kind of like that, where you're working in a hazardous zone with imminent danger, and you're like, all this money.
All this Discover Card.
It's worth my fingers for sure. Maybe a hand.
Maybe.
Not my life though. Please don't kill me.
Makes me wonder. I don't know if my dad was in the Philippines and he was in Korea for a while, but I don't think he ever went to Afghanistan. But I knew a lot of his friends that did go, and they're like, it's so boring. That's like the number one complaint I heard.
Yeah.
It's the most boring place.
It all depends on your job, I'd assume. I almost went 3 times. I got selected for an IA, which is individual augmentee, where they just send you from where you're at over there to attach to somebody else, work with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost did it, and they canceled it every time because it was during the drawdown
Oh, I see.
when they were taking the troops out of Iraq and Afghanistan. So
I see.
I did not go.
Huh.
Interesting.
That's so. How many times have you been deployed?
Deployed. Well,
But I guess I don't know.
all of it was out of Guam, and it was all over Asia.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like 5 times.
Oh, okay. So
But they were mostly extended like 6 or 9 months at a time.
So your current job is not technically a deployment. That's just where you're stationed, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now
then-
I just do police work.
Yeah.
So
Are you like? Is it like NCIS Sicily?
Sicily.
no, we have NCIS out there, but we don't really talk to them that much.
Oh. So your police work is that like? Is that just kind of like regular? Like they would, I don't know what they would call them that aren't
Like a beat cop.
Yeah, is that the kind of
Yeah.
stuff you guys do?
Well, that's the kind of stuff that we mostly do.
Okay.
So we just
So you
traffic.
just like are on base essentially,
Yeah.
kind of patrolling around.
Yeah.
But
so
like-
like shoplifters at the exchange, traffic stops for people running stop signs, drunk driving. That
I
kind
ran
of
a
thing.
stop sign.
who shoplifts on base?
We've had, since I've been there a year and a half,
Uh-huh.
we've had 2 people shoplift.
And
What kind
is
of
it like
stuff?
electronics, I'm guessing, or is it?
One of them was
stuff?
electronics. One of them was like high schoolers because we have a high school on there as well.
Oh, I see.
And then one of them was like an old retiree who might have been a
Weird.
little off.
Did he get prosecuted or anything? Or
I don't
was it-
know. So like we have a different branch, like our investigative branch, which is
Oh.
like 2 guys. If it's something like that, they'll take it over. No, I
Oh,
wouldn't
do they
have to
do
worry
like
about it.
detective work or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Like military detectives.
Detectives. Could be a good show.
I'm not that fancy, so I don't get to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like NCIS?
Yeah.
I've never seen NCIS.
Sicily.
honestly.
Neither have I.
Well, that's cool. Alicia, how's your week been, by the way? We still haven't gotten
yeah,
there.
geez, yeah, it's been pretty good. I like put out a thing in one of these like Ogden groups I'm a part of.
Oh,
because I was like, hey, has anyone like done busking downtown before? Like where you essentially go out and like perform and put out your hat and people put change or whatever in it or something. So I was like, hey, is anyone interested in doing that? Like, I play the violin, but I don't really want to do it by myself. I thought it might be kind of fun, like, you know, make like $100 during the weekend or something, performing at the farmer's market or whatever. And one person was like, oh, I play accordion. Would you want to play with me? I'm like, I freaking score.
That would
like,
be
accordion
so awesome.
and violin, that'd be so cool.
Yeah,
We're like a little gypsy troupe.
That would be so cool.
I was like, yeah, for sure, man. Hit me
Man,
up.
I really want to make some music. Like, I have the bug.
You have the bug?
Yeah, I go in waves of creativity, I guess. It's stupid to say, but yeah, right now I really, really want to make some music.
Yeah, something similar to Sandstorrm, perhaps?
Yeah, Darude Sandstorrm, that's the one. Anyway, sorry.
I make that joke one. Because someone asked.
Someone asked us if you wanted. So anyway, let's. Okay, so are you gonna go busking then? Do you have a plan?
I think I might like sometime maybe July-ish. I might go out like test the waters like one Saturday and play for a couple hours and see how much we make. So I have to get a busking permit though.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know that was such a thing. It's $30 for the whole year. I don't know if I go to like Weber County, like courthouse. I don't know where.
That's not bad though. $30.
Yeah.
If you could make $100 a weekend, you're making like $5,200 a year.
And I'm like,
you should just go
like highballing that. I think it's probably gonna be like, I don't know, 30, 25. But
30,
I'm not sure.
Bucks.
Like I'm not, because if I see someone, I'm like, oh, this person's good. I'll give them like at least $2 or $3 when I'm watching. So
there was an article a long time ago, like 2007. It's been a while.
That actually was 10 years ago.
Yeah. So about this, one of the best violinists in the world took his like Stradivarius to.
Was he in New York subway system? Right?
No, it was in Washington D.C. in like the main. Metro? Yeah, I think it was in like the main area, the biggest station. I don't know what it's called, but and he played for like an hour, and most people didn't know who he was. Occasionally someone would be like, hey, I know who that is, because he was performing in DC like that night, and so they just did this experiment where he went and busked like he makes like something crazy. It was like $600 a minute or something, like in the studio when people hire him to play for stuff. But he made like $65 in an hour or something like that, and he's like, if this was a full-time job, that wouldn't be too bad,
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, if you can kind of set your own times of when you want to go. It's pretty much just like dependent on you.
Well, the problem is you couldn't do that for 40 hours a week, right? Because you wouldn't have that much commute time.
That's true.
You could maybe do it for like 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
I guess if you did that for 6 days a week, but Saturdays would be different. Yeah. So anyway, now I'm thinking
it would depend on the events going on in the area, when the commute times were in the morning and evening.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times people will complain, because they talk to vendors in the area, and they were like, normally I would close my doors or complain to security or something, but this guy was really good, so I just let it go, or whatever. And it's really funny because nobody appreciates that it's literally like one of the best in the world.
It's interesting because...
I said literally 2 times.
The buskers that I've been really interested in are usually, I guess, groups. And because if there's a lot of them have like drum, like some sort of thing going on in the background, they'll like play a tape and they'll like play along to the tape. I'm like, no, this is not, I'm not impressed with this. But if it's like a big group, Too Many Zoos is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Too Many Zoos is good.
I like those guys. So
but then you have to split your earnings as well.
But those guys, I think they got famous from like a YouTube video, and now they tour around. So
cool. The sax player in Too Many Zoos was like, he was in an awards show. I remember with like Kelly Clarkson or something.
What?
So some famous person was doing a song, and they had this sax player there, this Barry sax player, because he was like just famous enough to get to play with that person on the awards show. That guy's very entertaining though.
Yeah, it's like really good entertainment, like high entertainment quality. So.
Yeah. really good.
Yeah, so I would just have to make sure I'm entertaining.
Yeah, try to be entertaining, Alicia. Jeez.
I'll be like Lindsay Sterling and dance around. Just kidding. I don't like Lindsay Sterling.
Man. You want to throw some shade right now?
If I say... people here love Lindsay Sterling, so if I say anything negative,
I know.
I'll be flamed.
Our podcast will be panned.
No, I can't be panned, so I won't. That's all I'll say. Just watch her play live. That's bad. Anyways.
Oh, Friday wants to see our stickers, by the way. I just saw your phone. He's like, show us the stickers. We're going to have to take an Instagram or something of the stickers.
Yeah. I need to log into Instagram. I haven't done that.
I know. Why aren't you treating this like a real... I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Part-time job. Steve doesn't pay me.
I don't have any money.
He's my boss.
Totally. Let's see. Let's go. I'll talk about my week a little, I guess. What did I do this week? I mostly...
Did I see you this week?
Yeah. So remember, because we recorded...
On Thursday.
When did...
Wednesday. We recorded on Wednesday because Thursday was your sister's birthday, right? Or was that...
Wednesday was my sister's birthday. We recorded on Tuesday. Last Tuesday,
yeah.
right.
Wow, days are hard.
And I had pink eye.
Yeah.
And I still had it on Wednesday. I didn't go to work on Wednesday. I worked from home, and then I went on Thursday. That was kind of crazy.
Was everyone like, ugh, here comes pink eye guy?
No, because I've been taking this medicine. I went on Wednesday morning. I went to the Instacare, and they gave me this. They're like, yeah, here's the thing. You could have bacterial conjunctivitis or viral conjunctivitis. So we don't...
I'm guessing viral is the one that's like highly contagious. Right?
They're both really contagious, but like they're like, we're not gonna test you. We're not gonna try and take a culture or anything like that. We just normally treat you for the bacterial conjunctivitis, and then if it doesn't get better, then we'll have to send you to like an ophthalmologist or something and get the viral stuff under control or whatever. Or like sometimes if you have like a breakout in your eye, it could be because you have like eye herpes or something. I don't know. I just read that on Google. That the doctor didn't say it. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, they gave me some medicine, and like I've never had medicine work so fast because it's eye drops. You literally just drop it in your eye like acid. Well, like with an eye drop, not actually like acid. And so it was like worked in like 15 minutes, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah. And then after 3 hours, it would start to kind of like, itch again.
Yeah.
But I had to wait like 4 or 5 because it's 4 drops per day. For 10 days or something.
Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I'm still continuously taking eye drops, and I'm still like always worried about putting my eyes near people, but it seems fine now.
Yeah. Well, as long as I don't rub my eye on your eye, I think.
Yeah, let's try not to rub our eyes together, everybody. Let's see. So I think that's it. I think that was kind of my whole week. Yeah. This weekend has been sort of relaxed, but my family's been in town, so it's also been like very busy. Yeah. So. And we have today off too.
You're not relaxed right now?
I am podcasting right now, and we have a thing that we have to go to in less than 1 hour is when we have to be there. So, it might have to be a short... Oh, shoot. So anyway, sorry. The pressures of time. But we played a game yesterday. What's the game called?
It's a DC deck building game. It's made by Cryptozoic is the company. And it can be really fun. If you like card games like Magic and stuff like that, and you don't want to drop the hundreds of dollars, they're good alternatives, I guess.
So here's what I was thinking about is you could get was that card Firestorm that I got that you just add cards to it over time?
Yeah, it was Firestorm.
Is that I was thinking if you just worked to get if Firestorm came out and was available to like buy, I guess, in the beginning, you just worked to get the 7 points to get it, and then every time you had them in your hand, add a card to it and just like try to keep your deck small. Eventually you could just have Firestorm come out every time it was your turn and use all of the benefits in your whole deck.
Yes. I think that's the idea behind
insane.
it. I was very disappointed they didn't give an extra one with the expansion set, but They do that sometimes. Give you an extra, the really good card.
An extra, yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was
like fun. Though.
It was a pretty fun game. There's a lot of there are different ways, like meta games to play with it and that kind of thing. And they have different ways to play the game. So we were playing a co-op game against the game itself, where your deck to pull from is your life, and if you run out, you lose. And you basically have to defeat these crises and villains before your deck runs out, basically.
That sounds
cool.
So
we almost did it.
Almost.
If I had done one move differently earlier
Don't blame yourself.
we might have had a little more time.
Yeah. Is that something you guys did, like, back in the day?
No, not really. We played D&D.
Yeah, we were geeks.
Yeah, and watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Still do.
I wasn't that into it, but all of my friends were really into it, so I ended up seeing a lot of Dragon Ball Z.
I love that there's like been kind of a semi-resurgence of Dragon Ball Z memes recently.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I appreciated that.
It's a new series is out, Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but would you recommend it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could skip the first 2 story arcs because they were released in movies. And the movies, I think, are better. Less filler. You don't like filler.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z is like, all I remember from it is filler. Just like that's
charging
like
up and flying to a destination and then charging up.
Well, then that's why they released because at the time, to like keep the weekly schedule. I know a little bit of weird stuff about this. To keep the weekly schedule, they were doing 4 different companies were making the episodes at a time, and that's why animation would suffer because one company really sucked
right.
at
I remember hearing a little bit about this.
Yep. And then on top of that, then they were trying to catch up with the manga or stay with the actual manga where they got the source material. So they would add filler episodes to buffer.
Between the time of
between
when
the
it
time.
was going to come out.
Yeah.
Let's just make Goku yell for 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I like that Frieza power up.
Yeah.
That, like, the planet will explode in 5 minutes. And then it was like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
You were like, wow.
Yeah, I remember there was so much dialogue.
There is.
And, like, because they were, like, thinking about what they were going to do and, like, oh, he's going to do this, but how are we going to defeat him? And they're kind of flying, like, to the next thing, and they're just, like, talking to each other or just, like, thinking about things. I just remember that was a lot of what...
Yeah, they fixed that in a re-release, Dragon Ball Kai. It's Dragon Ball Z with the filler taken out.
Oh, interesting.
So it matches the manga closer.
Cool.
I know, right? I know it's weird. Geek information. It's good. I like it.
So, Chris, how's things been for you? How's things been?
It's been good. I've been on vacation, so I haven't taken vacation.
How was Disneyland?
Wow. Disneyland was
fun.
great. It was like I like to death march Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Like get the most out of my time.
Oh, I see.
So I try to push through the days.
Really go on the Disneyland Trail of Tears.
Yes, Disneyland Trail of Tears.
It kind of is, though, if you've been... I don't know. There's been, like, 3 times I've been to Disneyland, and if you've been there for, like, 2 days, you're like, okay, like, in the morning, you're like, all right, I gotta... Like, so, like, you look at yourself in the mirror, like, all right, you're gonna do this, you're gonna have fun, and you're gonna not complain about how bad your feet hurt, or how dehydrated you are. So...
Very true. I signed my son up for the Jedi training there one day.
Oh, I saw that video on Facebook.
We scouted it out for 2 days because, like, it fills up right when the park opens. Yeah. So we went, like, an hour and a half before the park opens with my 5-year-old. And, like, waited there for it to open. And, like, right before the park opened, my kid was like, you know, Dad, I kind of have to use the restroom. And I'm like, well, can you hold it, bud? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. So the park opens, and then, like, we, like, mad dash, like, through the entrance. And it opens a half an hour before they open the rest of the park. So we're, like, sprinting down Main Street with my 5-year-old, and it's like the zombie hordes coming behind us to also, you know, get through.
Yeah.
And, like, my kid trips, and, like, I throw him up on my shoulder.
No,
we're still going, and we get to the Tomorrowland entrance, and then we have to stop again for another half hour.
Before
and then
that opens.
My kid can see a restroom, like, across the way, but we're already crowded by everyone else. And he's like, Dad, I kind of have to go. And I was like, look, bud, we can go right now, but the chances of you getting signed up are going to be slim after that. So, you know, it's really on you. I'm fine either way. And he was like, well, I'll hold it. And I'm like, okay. And he's kind of doing a dance. And I feel like a horrible father at the time because I'm making my kid hold his ear.
You told him it was his choice.
I did say it was his choice. So, again, then we sprint. And they tell you no running, so I was like, well, I'll be the good guy, and I won't run. And then people are running past us, and I'm like,
no.
This is BS.
Yeah.
So we started sprinting again, and we made it, got him signed up. So
Nice.
it was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did he like that?
He loved it.
Did he get to go to the bathroom?
He did after.
Okay.
He ran to the bathroom.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Steve. It's your co-host Steve here again in the middle of the episode. If you've ever listened to this podcast, you know we do this every time. Hey, just wanted to say, first of all, thank you very much for listening. It's really fun to have listeners that enjoy the podcast and that interact with us. So that is all up to you and all thanks to you. So thank you very much. Also, thanks again to Chris, my brother-in-law, for being on this week's episode. And thanks for letting us push it out 1 week so that we could adjust our schedule. So if you heard last week's episode, you would know that we're in sort of the middle of a pre-recorded schedule, or further pre-recorded than we normally would be. This is the last one of those we have until we get another extra one in the chamber. From here on out, it'll be that week's episode recorded that week for a little while, at least. So, yeah. Also, I wanted to let you know, if you haven't heard this podcast before, or if you just haven't been listening in the middle section, you may not know that you can find all of the information regarding us and our previous episodes and our social media and everything on yourplaindonuts.com. That is YOUR plaindonuts.com. Like I said, we have links to all our social media there. So we've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We always mention when we're recording on Facebook and Twitter. So if you respond through those channels, you'll always have a higher chance of getting your question read and responded to on the episode, or your comment or your anecdote or whatever you want to leave. So yeah, the official Plain Donuts channels are the place to go to leave us your feedback. Also, this episode will be coming out the day before FireCon starts. FireCon is a fantasy and sci-fi writing and art convention happening in Layton, Utah on June 8th through the 10th. I mention that because we will be recording a live episode on June 10th at FireCon at 6 p.m. If you don't want to attend the entire convention, you can actually get a day pass just for the 10th, and that would allow you to get into our live recording. Otherwise, if you do want to attend, they're still taking registrations. That's at firecon.com. That's FYRE con.com. So, also, a couple of last things that we always say. Firstly, if you could go leave us a rating and a review on iTunes, that would be excellent. Those, as they accumulate, will give Apple more awareness that we exist and potentially could put us into the new and noteworthy section, which would be sweet. And the other thing that we always ask you to do, just as bros for us, I guess, just as our friends, would you share this podcast with a friend that you think might like it? That's really the best way for us to grow, and there's not much other option for us to grow except by you sharing. So we would love it if you would do that, and if you do, you'll be my best friend forever. Promise. Okay, that's all I have for the middle of this episode. I'm recording it a little late. I hope it doesn't sound too wonky. If it does, I'll never apologize. All right, enjoy the rest of the show. Bye. So I'm going to make you tell this story again because I think it's hilarious, and we just talked about dad stuff. But that wasn't a moment. Was that a moment where you felt like a dad?
No.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that's a dad moment, I'd say.
Okay, where you're like, hold it. Dad moment is forcing your kid to...
I think it more of like...
Being a dad is forcing your kid to hold it so they can get signed up for Jedi training.
Well, it was also like, it's like taking, time out. It's not something I would have... Well, yeah. I mean, I would have done it myself if I would have qualified for the age group. But.
Of course you would have. So anyway, what are you've? I don't know why you told me this the first time, but I was like, this is great. Everyone should hear this. What are the moments that make you feel like a dad?
Okay, so
you have two like pivotal moments, right?
Two pivotal moments. So I think Sarah brought this up, my wife, and because she thinks they're funny.
Oh, okay.
Because she thinks I'm weird. That this is what makes me feel like a father or a dad. So the first one was when my 5-year-old Dean was 3. And we had some friends over at the house, and it was the first time I gave him a Nerf gun. But they have the new Elite darts that like shoot farther, and they have the flat tip instead of the suction cup. And they're kind of painful, so I cocked the Nerf gun for him, and I handed it to him, like just a few feet away from my face, and like I handed it to him with the barrel facing me, which was
good trigger safety.
Yeah, bad weapon safety on my part there. But he took the Nerf gun from me and like grabbed it around the trigger.
Oh no.
And it went off and got me in the eye. Like bad enough to burst all the blood vessels in my eye. Because it was that close and like the trajectory, and like I just wanted to like scream in a rage. But instead, like, I very calmly just took the gun from my kid with my eye closed. No. And I was like, okay, bud, that's enough for now. We'll do this again another time. And, like, I set the gun down, and we had company over, too, which is even worse. And I was like, okay, everybody, I'm going to head upstairs for a minute. So I just, like, walked upstairs.
Your eyes kind of, like,
screamed into rage in my pillow and cried a while. I had to get eye ointment.
Oh, really? I had to get eye drops.
Yeah, eye ointment's way worse. You actually have to
goop,
to pull your eyelid back and actually put it in your eyes.
Yeah.
And then everyone thought I had pink eye because my whole eye was red. From
They're like, don't touch me. And you're like, it's fine. I just was shot in the eyeball.
What if you, like, okay, this is like a really awful scenario, but what if that had happened and you had to like lose your eye? Would you just bring that up forever? Like, son, this is the reason.
That would be bad. It would have been my dominant eye. It was my right eye too.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible.
Just like held it over your kid's head for the rest of his life.
Did you have like vision problems for a little while, or was that?
It hurt to have my eye. It hurt to blink. Like, it was weird.
Was it like swollen up?
Yeah.
Oh man, eye stuff sucks. Yeah. The worst part about having pink eye for me was that, and not that you had pink eye, obviously, but like that, like I felt fine. My whole body was fine, but like my eyes itched a lot, and I couldn't go to work because it's like super contagious. Yeah. So that's what's so frustrating. I don't like staying home from work just for whatever, and so like it was really frustrating.
I try not to stay home from work myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel obligated.
I can work from home, but I'm like in my position. It's important for me to like be there as much as I can. Right.
You're a team lead, right? So it's kind of like good for you to. Be there in the office.
I have to lead the team. I don't know what that means.
Lead. No, and the other time was.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
No, that's cool. The other time, my 2-year-old Sam. He was about a year old, and I was watching him because my wife was out. So I was hanging out with the boys, and he was sick, and we were sitting on the couch, and I was like feeling really bad, and like I picked him up, and I'm like, bud, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. You're gonna feel all right. You're gonna feel better. And then he just puked into my mouth.
Steve is like having anxiety right now.
I think if I have kids at some point, I'm just gonna have to get over that. Like,
this is where the father's saying. So instead of me immediately puking myself,
then you puke into his mouth like, how do you like it?
Like one of those forever fountains that just goes back and forth.
It's like one of those 3D bookmarks, just like moving back and forth.
Sarah comes home and you and Sam are in a stasis of barfing back and forth into each other's. Anyway,
it was pretty grody. So instead of just puking myself, I spittled it out of my mouth.
Oh jeez!
It's like warm.
It was like milky.
Why did you say that?
Sorry,
moving on.
It was like warm sour milk in my mouth.
We can't though.
Okay. So anyways, I took care of him instead of puking myself.
That's
literally the worst thing I've ever heard.
That's really bad.
That's really bad.
Man, but that made you feel like a dad?
Yeah.
I mean, in that moment,
I
I
felt
don't
like a
think
champ.
there's like nothing else. You just kind of have to deal with it, I guess.
Well,
so.
and that's I think that's the stories that you're describing are moments where instead of reacting like you might react if this wasn't your kid,
Yeah.
you were like, okay, it's fine. Let's just put the gun away.
Dad's gonna go cry in a pillow for an hour. You stay here with Mom.
It's fine. You just barfed in my mouth. No big deal.
Yeah.
We're just gonna clean this up. Oh man, that's the worst. Is I feel like there was a time I had an ex-girlfriend who her parents were out of town and her whole family got super sick. Like I don't know, something was going around or whatever, and so they all just like started throwing up, and that was like one of the only times in my life where I was like, I just sort of got used to everyone throwing up around me.
Oh.
And so I feel like at that point, once you're past it, it's just like, well, this is what we do now. Got to deal with this.
Yeah.
So,
You know, it's weird. I had the stomach flu a while back, and they said when you're grown up, you don't throw up as much from sickness as you do get diarrhea. I mean, if that's facts, medical science.
And I hate throwing up, like, with my whole heart. So now I have, like, there's this medicine called Zofran that makes you not nauseous, just makes the nauseousness go
So
away.
it's like the opposite of Epicac.
Yeah. It's crazy, but it's like super expensive. They give it to cancer patients for dealing with the side effects of chemo and stuff like that. But like it's so but it doesn't have any negative side effects itself other than it can like stop you up, but like in a constipation way. I should be clear. But anyway, like they say that they just don't prescribe it as much. They don't sell it over the counter because it's like super expensive.
Yeah.
But my mother-in-law had something that was making her sick all the time, so they gave her some of that, and she's kind of past that now, but she still has a bunch. So she gave me a bunch of Zofran pills, and it's like a warm blanket to me. Like I know that if I start feeling sick, like nauseous and gross, I'm like, you know what? It's gonna be fine. I can if I need to, I could just go home, take some magic medicine, and I will feel better. Like.
Yeah, because I'm the type of person that, like, if I do get nauseous, I'm like, okay, obviously my body is, like, trying to get rid of something, so I have to throw, like, if I throw up, I'll feel better.
You're
like, I'm in the camp of let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I will feel better.
A comfort puker.
Yeah. I feel uncomfortable if I was like, no, like, you gotta stay in there, whatever it is that needs. I actually have a friend, did I tell you this? That he physically cannot throw up. He does not have a gag reflex. He physically cannot throw up.
He's my friend also now.
But he's actually really sad about it because when he like if he gets food poisoning or something, it has to just all go out in a different way, and it's like twice as bad because there's only one way for it to leave. So it's like
that seems okay to me. Just like bring a tablet or something and just watch movies or whatever.
It's not that fun when you're sick though, and it's all going out the other way. Like, when I had the stomach flu last, it was out the other way, and it was awful. I couldn't do anything. Like, it wasn't comfortable sitting
it's
on
like
the
really
toilet.
crampy.
Yeah.
It's like sweaty.
Fine, you
You're
guys are right.
it out. You're like hoping you're...
We're team barf it up rather than
Great.
poop it out.
Well, whatever. Vote on Facebook.
We're gonna start
whether
a
puking is better.
like
than
this
not
comment
puking.
if you prefer puking.
Better
like
out
this
than
comment.
in.
We have a friend who broke his back puking.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
Like from.
Puking.
So
he broke his back.
the story he told me, now we're like, people are like, what?
Yeah.
The story he told me is that he wakes up super early for work, and he's like, do you ever feel nauseous if you get up really early? And I was like, yes, that's so weird. I thought that was just me, but no, he like gets up super early, so sometimes he feels nauseous. So this particular morning he felt nauseous. And so he just threw up, and he's like, oh, I hurt my back a little, but he was like, okay. And then later I think he just went to the doctor because he's like, oh, something seems to be pretty wrong.
He started to get numb.
Oh, that's right. His legs started.
That's crazy.
Yeah, his legs started to get numb, and so he's like, "Oh
That'd
no,
be
this
so
is bad.
scary.
I better go to the doctor." So he went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "You need surgery today."
Oh my gosh, that is the worst thing I've. Yeah. Okay. I thought someone throwing up in my mouth would be the worst thing. Throwing up and then your back breaks and your legs go numb, that's way worse.
Yeah, it was his lower back.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he said that, I was like, could that have resulted in some kind of paralysis? And he's like, basically it would just be paralysis of my bowels. So I was like, you would just have to have a colostomy bag forever. Like,
That is,
it's
that's
like
the worst.
it's just like in and then out with no
Yeah.
release.
But you would still, like, have sensation, you just couldn't control it, right? Or-
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you would have the sensation. Maybe you just it would just.
You just be like, oh no, I'm having an accident. There's nothing I can do about it, like that kind of situation.
Oh man. That would. The idea of a colostomy bag is like the worst idea to me for some
Like,
reason.
you gotta carry it.
Yeah, it just seems really
Weird.
gross. So let's not talk about it
Yeah,
anymore.
we should stop. We're being gross today.
Ooh, sorry
we
guys.
have some questions though.
Yeah. So let's go to the first question on the Plain Donuts page. It's by our friend Lindsay E. Thank you
Thanks,
for
Lindsay.
sending the question, Lindsay. She said, "What's your favorite thing about Italy?"
My favorite thing about Italy, like the cool thing about Europe in general, is the history there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I love history. I love like World War II history and like Roman history and everything. There's a lot of ruins there, a lot of like Greek and Roman ruins
So
out
cool.
there.
Yeah.
So like you could go like very easily and like go to like a Greek amphitheater, like a Roman Colosseum, and like see that sort of thing. And it's all fairly close. So it's like a half-hour drive from my house or so.
That's
That's
so
probably
neat.
the best part about Italy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's funny because like that kind of history is stuff that unless you've been to the place and seen like where the stuff happened, it's sort of like this fable, you know?
Yeah, like you don't really think about it like, oh, well, people didn't actually like release lions onto each other inside of a place. Like that seems weird, but then you go there and it's like, oh, they actually had this place and that was entertainment.
This is literally where that happened.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, it's cool too to actually see like the floors and how they would have released stuff and like I don't know, you see some weird things in movies, but I guess most of it's pretty accurate.
Huh.
Cool.
Like in Gladiator.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's I really
cool.
want to go there and see that stuff and have my mind exposed.
Yeah,
Well, you
that's a
should.
place where I would want to go.
I know I
Good
want
place
to.
to stay.
Apparently, flights are super expensive. My mom was like, "Yeah, it'll probably be like $3,000 just for the flights," and I was
What?
like,
No way, man. I can get you a deal. Don't worry about it. They had some for like $438 round trip direct from Salt Lake.
"What?
Boom.
Direct to Italy?"
Yep. Direct to Rome.
See, and then
crazy.
from Rome, you get on a flight for like 300 to where I live.
So for the two of us, we're already talking about like $1,500.
That's not
So
bad though.
that's not terrible, but
Yeah.
it's not $3,000
You can
either.
take a train. It's cheaper, but take longer.
Mm.
But you could see the scenic
Oh
countryside.
man, that would be cool. I actually
Trains
really
are actually more expensive.
are
Really?
they?
Yeah. Well, we took a train from Germany to Paris when we went and visited Germany, and the train was probably the most expensive part of the
Huh.
trip.
Huh.
But it was worth it because I've never been on a train and I wanted to.
Yeah, I've ridden a train a long distance once. It was just from Salt Lake to Grand Junction, so just from Utah to Colorado. But it was cool. Like, it was neat to just be on this thing
Yeah.
that's taking you to. I don't know. It's just neat.
Yeah. I kind of regret it now, but maybe I can do this when I go on vacation later. But in Scotland, they have like the Harry Potter train, but it's one way, so which is kind of dumb. So it's like you go there and you're like, all right, how do I get back to where I had my
Yeah.
car or whatever? So you have to like find another transportation method, but. It's the one where it goes across the bridge. It's like all the beautiful, like super green,
yeah.
like scenic
Cool.
things. So it's pretty cool.
Don't you usually just want to go to Hogwarts? There's no reason to like leave there for a while.
I don't know. Yeah, that's true.
You're supposed to like enroll and
Yeah.
stuff, get
I guess
sorted.
yeah, that's what I guess that's what the situation
The whole
is.
point of the Harry Potter train is literally to go to Hogwarts.
Hogwarts,
So-
and yeah, how do they get back? The
I don't know.
I
students.
feel bad about Hogwarts. And my wife did the test online.
Mhm.
She got like Gryffindor, and I'm like, that's sick. And my sister's like, I'm Ravenclaw.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's awesome. And I'm like, I am Hufflepuff.
Oh, that's
Hufflepuff
cool.
is
I'm
the
Hufflepuff
best.
too.
I know.
I love Hufflepuff. I wanted to be Hufflepuff before Hufflepuff, before I could get sorted into Hufflepuff, because I was like, the colors
Were you
are so
sorted
neat.
into Hufflepuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hufflepuff. Huff
Hufflepuff
pride.
That's right. Hashtag.
I really like Hufflepuff, but I like the dumb crap. Like I like that Hufflepuff's mascot, not mascot.
The
What-
badger?
yeah, the badger. I think
Yeah.
that's dumb.
And then like it's like a fierce animal, but then the Hufflepuff house is just like, yeah, you know, we're cool.
you,
Our house, you know, like common room is literally next to the kitchen, and like this whole we just hang out.
That
and,
seems nice.
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds awesome. Like, forget like learning stuff. Like, I would chill and do random magic crap.
Yeah.
So
That sounds good. And then I got like I had it choose by Patronus for me. That was a really cool thing actually on Pottermore, but like my Patronus was a chow dog.
That's actually, I can imagine that.
I got
Is
a
your
weasel.
Patronus?
Nice.
I had a buffalo.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, I can't wait to see like this cool, majestic thing. It was just like, like buffalo. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's not bad. So.
Okay, Chris, do you like the song? This is Otto's question. His first joke question, from our Plain Donuts post. Do you like the song Sandstorm? Darude Sandstorm.
Okay, so it's an okay song.
But, you had a story about that.
Yeah, I do have a story about it. So we used to have to take a transport, like a van. We used to have someone drive us back and forth from our work site because you couldn't take your regular car, your privately owned car back there. And we were coming back like at midnight, and my friend was the driver for the van, and he was blaring Sandstorm. And it's back in the woods where we were at, and he came through, and like a deer jumped out, and he hit the deer.
Oh no!
Yeah, and the
deer got sandstormed.
The deer got sandstormed. He was spinning, but to the beat of the song, and he kept his head facing us the whole time as he was spinning. I don't know.
Did the deer like walk away after that?
I don't know. You're all kind of horrified at this, but he was spinning, facing us to the beat of Sandstorm.
The deer's like.
Yeah,
like that thing where it's like the popular
very
meme to like cut someone out and make a gif of them like dancing to other things, like
That
to a song.
would've been
I like
perfect.
imagining that, like the bus going and then hitting the deer and it's just like spinning.
Spins out into space.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That's the thing now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, that's sort of
hilarious.
morbid
That's-
and also like really funny.
it is.
Okay, so the Otto's other real question is, what are your least favorite and most favorite things about the Navy?
Okay. So I guess least favorite would get more into the Navy. I don't like how they do the evaluation system right now, but they're changing it. So hopefully it'll be better. But the way it's kind of based off of right now is a lot of outside work activity instead of in-work activity.
That's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I don't like that personally. It's not my favorite thing. But they're supposedly fixing it now, which is the first time in like over a decade that I've been in that they're going to change it.
Okay.
And then probably my favorite thing is like the people that I meet, like, because like you'll meet people like the Navy gets smaller the longer you've been in it. Because like when you go somewhere else, you usually know someone now, and like I know people in certain places. But like I have friends, like we met up with one of our friends that I worked with in Guam in Disneyland. We spent the day in Disneyland with them.
Oh,
that was
cool.
fun.
Cool.
When I went to school in Virginia, I had a friend there, so I stayed at his place for like a few months. And it's like, even though we didn't see each other for a few years, it's like coming back to Utah, you know?
Yeah.
Like we're all really good friends still, even though we don't see each other on a daily basis. That's probably my favorite
Yeah,
thing
that's
about
cool.
the military.
That's cool.
I guess it's all like a shared experience, so like you all know, like you all kind of relate with that at least on a basic level. So that's cool.
What's your favorite story from your time in the military?
Favorite story? Ah, man. Did not come prepared.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Well, or just a top story that comes to mind.
Top story that comes to mind. I don't know. So, like, I mean, like a lighthearted story, I guess, per se.
Sure.
I mean, there's...
Go on.
I don't know. Okay. So this will be, I guess, more of a lighthearted story. One of my favorite stories is when I was working in Washington, D.C. at the Naval Research Lab. We got a call that there was someone, their boat tipped over and they were floating past our pier. So we thought somebody was drowning right off our pier, and I was the patrol officer, the policeman. So I gotta like turn on the lights and sirens and drive like a bat out of hell, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like driving through the alleys and whatnot. Like I came to a skid and like almost like the fire department was already on scene and they're like, "Oh, you almost flipped that vehicle." I was nowhere near close to flipping the vehicle. But I got out, we ran out to the pier and like we got out there, and this is like the story of my life, miscommunication. Like we got out to the pier, I talked to the fire department and our dispatch officer again, and they're like, Oh yeah, they picked up the guy like way up the river. The Coast Guard got him like forever ago.
So everyone's just like waiting at the pier, like,
Yeah,
where's
for
the
no
dude?
reason.
Yeah.
And we were like, cool.
Oh, that's
Beans. Like that's a fun one.
man.
Do you have like rivalry with the Coast Guard? You're like, oh, those Coast Guard guys.
No, like I don't know. Every branch likes to make fun of all the other
Yeah,
branches.
that was gonna be one of my questions. Was like, what's your favorite like joke about the other branches?
I like making fun of the Marines. I worked with the. I like the Marines a lot, and if I would have joined the Navy or joined the military again in my life, I would have joined the Marine Corps actually, because I really do appreciate their rank structure and how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
But the jokes with them are hilarious. Have you ever seen like stuff involving crayons? How they eat crayons? And like they'll be like a sell at Target involving like 50% off on Crayola crayons, and they'll post it on like Marine websites.
That's funny. I've never
yeah.
heard of that.
What does that come from?
Because they say Marines are dumb, and they're not all dumb, obviously.
Right, obviously.
But it's fun. So, but the rivalry between the Navy and the Marines is like pretty friendly, and like every branch like joins against other branches. So the Army and Air Force used to be one branch. They used to be the Army Air Corps. So if it comes down to like people making fun of each other, the Navy and Marines will stick together, and the Army and the Air Force will stick together to make fun of each other. And then the Coast Guard's just kind of left out. We call them puddle pirates because they don't get to drive the big ships. But we don't really make fun of the Coast Guard as much now. They're part of Homeland Security as opposed to a military branch.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, my grandpa was in the Coast Guard though.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, I know I don't really know anyone who's in the Marines right now, but I can make some jokes about crayons.
Yeah.
Or like give them a box of crayons as a gift, and they'll be like, "How did you know about this?"
That's a good idea.
Yeah, there was a good meme the other day. It was like when you're in a room full of Marines, you know, and it had a picture of Adam Sandler saying like, "I am the smartest man alive." Yeah,
That's pretty funny.
Do you have any stories from? Well, I guess. What's the scariest story?
Scariest story.
Yeah.
So I don't know even how many years ago now. It was when I was in DC in Maryland, so that was probably like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
We had an active shooter at my base.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
I
Navy
remember-
Yard in DC.
My dad was mentioning that because works at Andrews, you
Yeah.
know, and it was near, the Navy Yard. You can get off at the subway, and it was like around that area near
Yep.
like a Whole Foods or something. I remember.
Yeah, it's right next to the Air Force Base down
Yeah.
there too. But yeah, we had an active shooter there, so
Crazy.
it was
Scary.
it was bad.
Were you on duty at the time?
Actually, I was on my way in for urinalysis for my pee test,
Mm-hmm.
and it started. So I still went in.
You're like, do you guys still want my pee? Or like,
No, I didn't go in for urinalysis because I'm base police, base security, so
oh,
I still went in to go assist.
oh, I see.
Oh,
what
as in
yeah.
like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty scary because I had to call my wife and be like, hey, turn on the news. This is what's going on, and this is where I'm headed. But I didn't get to go inside the building or anything during it because DC, has so much law enforcement, federal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost impossible to get on the base. So
Yeah.
I just helped out from organizing responses. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that is pretty scary.
Yeah.
That it's crazy to me that you could get an active. Was that guy military?
He was a civilian who was just fired.
He was like
prior.
fired from the base or something.
Yeah, he's
like
fired
that?
from the
Yeah.
base and he went back inside. So Aaron Alexis was his name.
Huh. Weird.
Scary.
Yeah, that is scary. It's just crazy to me that you could have an active shooter in that place. Like, it seems like the worst possible place that you would want to be an active
That's
shooter.
true. Yeah, like I didn't really think about that.
Yeah,
He probably didn't really think about that too much.
Yeah,
either.
it was probably not a well thought out
Yeah.
decision.
no, but I think his plan was not to come out of that situation.
Oh.
But
So
yeah.
if that's the case, maybe it was the best place to be an active shooter.
If for his circumstances, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about my job is my job. Like, I mean, it sounds more interesting than what it is most of the time. But the boring days are the good days where I work, and the exciting days tend to be a bad day for somebody else. So I don't really like exciting days at work.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when I was young, like I craved the excitement. Now I don't really crave it
Now
so
you're
much.
like,
I just
You're
kinda-
kind of like, oh, yeah.
yeah.
If we could just like maybe arrest a retiree once in a while.
I mean, I'm
okay.
fine.
Yeah,
like-
some dude shoplifting, like that's about.
I mean, we tackled a drunk a few months ago who was puking all over the place and trying to swing at us. Like that was pretty fun.
He was swinging and puking.
Yeah, it was gross.
Doesn't he have a club?
That is gross.
No, he came from a club.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on base. Always carry medical gloves with you for those kind of things.
Yeah.
That's actually
That's
good advice
nasty.
in
Yeah.
any situation.
Yeah.
Always have a pair
I do,
of
yeah. I carry
gloves
medical gloves
with you.
That's gross. Why would you? I don't know. I don't understand people getting like so drunk that they make these really dumb decisions.
The thing is, I think people don't like plan on that. Like you just drink a lot really fast and then you're like, oh crap, like now I'm just freaking wasted in the
What have
middle
I
of nowhere.
done?
Yeah.
Now I have to get in a fight with the police.
Yeah. I think that's the situation. I laugh, but that's some people's reality.
Yeah. That's like when I make jokes about like doing crack or something. To me, that's just like a ridiculous thing that
Yeah.
people would never do, of course.
Yeah.
But to somebody else, they're like, no.
That's really what their life is
Yeah,
like.
I've seen a lot of people go down from crack, man, and you're just like,
I'm surprised about the amount of poor decisions that I've seen. But as you find out more about the situation, it's not always so surprising. You're like, well, I guess I kind of see where they made that poor choice. Not necessarily that you would make that poor choice yourself or anything, but you kind of see, like, okay. And then you kind of feel bad, but then again,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
they
it's-
still...
Yeah, they
I
still made a
think it's-
decision.
Yeah, they still made a decision.
like you start developing empathy with people, like because I don't know, a lot of people tend to get on this high horse, right? Like, oh, I am doing fine in life, so obviously I'm better than those who aren't. And I think like once you can start developing empathy for people who make these bad decisions, it's like, oh, I'm actually not that far different from this person. It's just a couple of situational things that they had that I didn't have that could have pushed me in that same direction. Maybe our personalities are too different for me to have also made that decision, but nonetheless, like it's not like you're just some great person on a mountain. You know what I mean?
Well, empathy is actually like one of the things they teach you in investigations and interrogations. Like when you talk to people, you should empathize with most people. There's a few people you don't empathize with. You don't ever empathize with people that are like abusive sexual assault with children, stuff like that.
Of course.
Don't empathize with them, and murderers usually don't empathize with them because that's kind of like, that's bad. Why would you empathize with something like that? But for like the average person that gets arrested, like I get stuck with it a lot because I guess I empathize well with people. I don't know. I used to be a people person. But so I tend to talk to a lot of people and empathize with them, and you tend to figure out more that way.
Yeah. That's cool. So I think we should move on to the last question. This has to be the last one. Sorry. I know we have one other question that came up, but we're just running out of time.
Do?
We had one on my post, but
okay. Too bad they didn't post on the Plain Donuts page.
I know, because then maybe we would have gotten to it. Next time, Jessica posts on the PD
sorry,
page.
Jessica.
Oh, what a call
You
out.
called her out. Dang, harsh.
Throwing shade. So Corinne, our mutual friend, actually,
Oh,
he knew
man,
Corinne.
everybody knows everybody.
I know, he knew Corinne before I knew Corinne, actually.
Since the 7th grade.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she's been on the podcast before, if you haven't. Her podcast, the title was... What was
her book, right?
Her book.
Well, yeah, but what was the podcast title? Do you remember?
Oh, it was called... I think we just called it...
Ladies Be Shopping?
Ladies Be Writing?
Ladies Be Writing or something like that.
uh-huh.
Anyway, you can go listen to Corinne's podcast if you want. But she asked the question, and she's a really good writer, dang it.
Yeah. Don Sill, check it out.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
They didn't pay us to advertise this much, but
no.
we both liked it a lot.
It's cute.
They didn't pay us at all, to be honest.
Yeah, no one
Anyway.
pays us anything, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
I have a signed copy. I haven't read it. My
have-
wife read it though and said it's great. So
it's really
I will
good.
read
It's
it.
good.
We haven't sold out yet. Not that we won't
We're so
eventually,
close.
but anyway.
On the brink.
Corinne said, as I know that Chris is a mega Star Wars fan, if he could choose a part of the Star Wars story for a standalone movie like Rogue One and the upcoming Han Solo movie, what would he love to see and why?
I'm going to jump on the internet train on this one. 'Cause
Okay.
the internet's already been talking about this, and Ian McGregor himself, the guy who played Obi-Wan in the original trilogy, said that he would be up for it already.
Not the
Love Ewan
original
McGregor.
trilogy, the
prequel.
prequel trilogy.
Ian McGregor played Obi. Alec
Yeah.
Guinness played it. He's dead in the original trilogy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
he was
and
old.
And dead in life. He was dead in the trilogy.
And in life.
And
Well, he became
spoilers.
one with the Force.
I guess.
Yeah.
The spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Jeez, if you haven't
know-
seen the original
Yeah,
Star Wars
gosh.
trilogy, that's
I feel
gonna be
bad
a-
too because a lot of people I talk to like about Star Wars are like, I've never seen it.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
I only saw it recently, actually. So
Wait, do you
So
know
fresh.
about Vader? Like, that's the question. Do you have to?
Whoa.
Right, whoa.
Spoiler.
Who?
Anyways,
Yeah.
Ian McGregor said he'd be up to do Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone movie.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Like,
that would
And
be
I think
cool.
that would be awesome.
like an origin sort of situation.
Like a in-between movie, like
Huh.
in between the prequels and the original trilogy.
Oh, cool.
And he's like the right age to do it, and he's
Yeah.
a really good actor. I enjoyed him as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He picked up Alec Guinness's role really well.
Hmm.
So
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
that's
into
why
that.
I'd be into that.
I'd be into Ewan McGregor.
I like the way that Disney has picked up franchises and done well with them. I think they've done so far a good job, like with the Marvel stuff, and then with I think they've done good with the Star Wars stuff. But I'm not a huge fan. I'm not like a diehard or anything.
Yeah,
so.
I cried when they picked it up. That's because they did away with the expanded universe.
Oh.
And then they said none of it was canon, even though George Lucas was like, this is canon.
Mm.
And then they were like, here's episode 7, so it makes more sense. And then it made no sense.
I don't know, man.
I can't speak to that, so.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not an expert. Are you excited about episode 8?
I am. I'm nervous too, though, because Mark Hamill, the guy who plays Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker,
Mhm.
he's a character in Star Wars. If you guys don't know,
Yeah, I
spoilers.
know who that is.
Who?
He said that he fundamentally disagrees with everything that Luke does in this movie, and that he would have not had Luke do that.
Huh.
Oh,
So it
interesting.
makes me curious because he's really good with his characters. Like he plays Joker in a lot
Yeah.
of voice animated series, and
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that just because he like does well playing the character that he fully understands like the motivations better than anyone.
I
or
think he
whatever.
understands Luke's motivation rather well, though.
I don't know, but yeah. I'm really excited about it because Ryan Johnson is directing it, and I have liked Ryan Johnson for a long time.
See, and that gives me some hope too.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you've seen Brick, or
Well, maybe
if you
it'll
liked
like
Looper,
I like
resolve
Brick and
itself
Looper.
in like the next movie because it's supposed to be like 3 movies,
Mm-hmm.
right? So maybe even though he's kind of being a jerk in this one or whatever he happens
as
to
long
do,
as
it'll
they
like
just
resolve in the
don't
next
kill
one.
him,
Yeah.
that's all.
I haven't heard what Luke says or what what was his name that we just said? Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
I haven't heard what Mark Hamill said about Luke, but I wonder if like part of me wonders if it could be taken as he means that he disagrees with the Luke doing that, but what he actually means is he disagrees with what Luke is doing, but maybe Luke will have like a redemption in the next movie.
I think it's just a disagreement of probably what the character does.
Mm.
Like,
Because he's like out by himself right now, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers if you haven't.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you probably have seen it. Everyone's seen that movie by now, I would hope. But
Anyway, that
Yeah.
doesn't give much away, but
no.
yeah, I'm excited about it. But I'm not like I don't have a lot of emotional stock in it. So for me, I'm just like, let's see what happens. I'm in for the ride, you know. But a lot of people, people love their fandoms, and so like, you don't want to mess with it.
I like the new guy. What's his face? Kylo Ren. He's still like angsty and just
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of awkward.
What's his name? I can't remember. He's a prior
Adam
Marine,
Driver.
by the way.
Adam Driver?
Adam Driver. He's
Yeah,
a
he
prior
was.
Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or he is still a Marine. Once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine.
Oh, okay.
My bad. Don't hate on
Sorry.
me.
Yeah.
Hoorah? Is that
Hoorah.
right?
Hoorah.
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 Is that the right Marine
Hoorah.
thing? I remember.
I yell it.
What was it? I was watching some show and somebody said hoorah, and like it gave them away because they were pretending to be an army person, but the army doesn't say that. The Marines say that. So
Wait, was it like one of those stolen valor situations, or was it?
it was
like,
it was a
something
weird
awkward?
like post-apocalyptic kind of show, and like so all these different factions of people were trying to find a way to like live, like interact with each other and stuff. And this guy like came in and was acting like all big and like he was some kind of military leader or whatever. But there was another guy who was also in the military in that same town, and like he like basically sniffed him out, saying like this guy's a fake because he used that call or whatever it is when his branch of the military that he's claiming to be would not have done that or whatever.
Interesting. Huh.
So
It is.
I don't know. Sorry, I forgot what the show was. It's been a long time. But so anyway, I guess we can end it. We've been going for like an hour, and we have to go.
Oh yeah.
So, anyway, it's not that short of an episode. It's still an hour long. So.
Yeah. There you go.
But thanks everybody for listening. Thank you for coming on, Chris.
Us. Yeah,
Thanks for letting me come out.
Was it fun?
It was.
Yeah.
Not as nerve-wracking. I was just super nervous.
Oh, really? Oh, we're really nice.
Yeah, Alicia, we're really nice.
Yeah.
Great. Good
Steve
job.
was going to backhand me after
I really
some
feel
stuff.
like you patted yourself on the back nicely there. No, I'm just joking. Cool.
Trying to think if we have anything else to say.
Oh,
FireCon?
FireCon is coming up on June
10th.
The 10th. We're going to be on there on the 10th at 6 p.m.
6
Come
p.m.,
to
not
our live
6:30
recording
PM, it's 6 p.m.
if you want. It's in Layton, Utah. So Layton, Utah. In the mountains. Anyway.
It is not in the mountains.
It's kind of in the mountains. It's like near the mountains.
It's against the mountains.
Nestled against the mountains.
Nestled
anyway.
in the valley.
Well, cool. I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
It's been an enjoyable episode.
This episode will release on a date.
We will bring.
TBD.
You will be hearing this sometime.
Yep.
If you're hearing it now, you heard it.
Yep. There it is.
Okay. Thanks everybody. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.